What if your child is not confused? What if your child is not lazy? What if your child is not average, distracted, too sensitive, or too complicated? What if your child is simply being measured through the wrong lens? Today, I want you to listen very carefully because this is an actual intelligence mapping case study. I will use an imaginary name to protect identity. Let us call this Gen Alpha child Raj. And I want you to observe something powerful. When I looked at Raj's intelligence map through planetary placement, I did not begin with marks. I did not begin with school performance. I did not begin with what society calls good career options. I began with the diagnostic engine of the chart. The signs, the houses, the karakas, the planets, the conjunctions, and the exact zones where intelligence is being activated. Because when you read intelligence through planetary placement, you are not guessing. You are not saying maybe this child is creative, or maybe this child is analytical, or maybe this child is good with people. No. You are seeing where the mind naturally goes. You are seeing what the soul keeps returning to. You are seeing how the child processes the world before society starts conditioning them. And in Raj's case, the map is striking. He has Libra rising, which immediately tells me this child is not designed to live in emotional isolation. He is relational. He observes people. He picks up tone, body language, fairness, imbalance, approval, rejection, beauty, and harmony. He may not always say it openly, but he is constantly reading the room. This is the first signal. Raj's intelligence does not grow only through books. It grows through interaction. He learns through people. He understands himself through response. He becomes sharper when there is dialogue, debate, feedback, partnership, or emotional contrast. Now, as a parent, this is important. Because if you treat such a child as if they must sit alone, memorize, repeat, and perform like a machine, you will miss the real intelligence. You may think the child is distracted, but the child is actually relationally alert. You may think the child is over-aware of people, but the child is actually processing human systems. You may think the child needs to focus more, but maybe the child needs the right mirror. Now look deeper. Raj has a powerful concentration of planets in Taurus in the 8th house, Sun, Moon, Mars, and Venus. This is not ordinary. The 8th house is the house of hidden patterns, secrets, transformation, psychology, mystery, crisis, depth, and research. Taurus is the sign of beauty, stability, voice, value, resources, comfort, food, art, and sensory intelligence. So what happens when 4 major planets gather there? You get a child who is not satisfied with surface answers. Raj is not just asking, what is this? Raj is asking, why is this hidden? Why did that person behave like that? What is the real reason? What is the pattern behind the pattern? What is the secret mechanism? This is investigative intelligence. This is transformational intelligence. This is the intelligence of the psychologist, the researcher, the strategist, the healer, the detective, the analyst, the symbolic thinker, the person who can look beneath appearances and sense what others miss. Now, you may see this child sitting quietly and assume nothing is happening. But inside, a whole diagnostic process may be running. He is watching. He is connecting. He is absorbing emotional data. He is remembering who said what, who changed tone, who avoided eye contact, who is pretending, who is holding back. This is not overthinking. This is pattern intelligence. And when this kind of intelligence is not understood, the child may become anxious, secretive, or emotionally overloaded. Why? Because he can sense complexity before he has the language to explain it. That is why intelligence mapping is so important. It gives language to the child's inner wiring. It tells you whether your child is truly weak or simply deep. Now let us look at the Moon and Venus in Taurus. This gives Raj a refined emotional and aesthetic intelligence. He does not just think in words. He feels through tone, color, texture, voice, rhythm, comfort, beauty, and emotional atmosphere. He may be drawn to music, design, fragrance, food, fashion, interiors, luxury, storytelling, visual arts, or anything that carries sensory harmony. But because this is happening in the 8th house, his creativity may not be light and decorative. It may be deep, intense, symbolic, emotional, mysterious, or healing. He may not only enjoy beauty. He may want beauty to mean something. He may be drawn to art that tells a story, music that carries pain, films that reveal human truth, design that changes how people feel, or psychology that explains hidden emotional worlds. This is why I do not call him simply creative. That word is too small. He is aesthetic depth intelligent. He can combine beauty with psychology. He can combine emotion with design. He can combine comfort with transformation. He can understand why people are attracted to certain visuals, certain words, certain spaces, certain people, certain lifestyles. This is the intelligence behind branding, therapy, luxury psychology, film, emotional design, relationship counseling, fashion communication, and deep storytelling. Now look at Mars in Taurus in the 8th house. Mars gives action, technical courage, problem solving, and intensity. But in Taurus, Mars does not act randomly. It builds slowly. It protects, it resists, it holds. In the 8th house, Mars becomes investigative. It wants to penetrate the problem. It wants to uncover the mechanism. It wants to solve what is hidden. This can give Raj a strong ability in research, diagnostics, forensic thinking, crisis analysis, psychology, finance, surgery-like precision, strategy, and even technical problem solving, if the subject has depth. But here's the key. Do not give this child dry logic without meaning. Do not force him into mathematics as if calculation alone is intelligence. His logical intelligence activates when there is mystery, purpose, and hidden structure. Give him puzzles. Give him case studies. Give him why did this happen problems. Give him research projects. Give him real-world complexity. Then watch the mind wake up. Now comes one of the most important placements. Raj has Mercury in Gemini in the 9th house. This is powerful. Mercury in Gemini is the mind in its own language field. It is communication, curiosity, writing, analysis, wit, lit, language, ideas, networking, explanation, and adaptability. The 9th house is higher learning, philosophy, ethics, worldview, universities, publishing, foreign cultures, big ideas, and meaning. So this placement gives Raj linguistic philosophical intelligence. He may be very good at explaining, writing, comparing, questioning, debating, teaching, presenting, storytelling, or learning languages. He may enjoy ideas that open the mind. He may ask questions about belief, truth, morality, law, culture, religion, philosophy, and the purpose of life. This is a child who may not enjoy memorizing a paragraph, but may enjoy explaining the whole concept in his own words. That is a different intelligence. You may say, why does he keep asking questions? Because Mercury and Gemini in the 9th cannot live in intellectual silence. It must connect ideas. It must compare systems. It must move from information to meaning. It must speak, write, argue, teach, publish, and interpret. So if you want Raj to learn well, do not only ask him to read, ask him to explain, ask him to debate, ask him to make a mind map, ask him to teach you the concept, ask him to compare two ideas, ask him what he believes and why. This is how his intelligence opens. Now Jupiter is Atmakaraka in Aries in the 7th house. Atmakaraka shows the soul's main learning direction. Jupiter as Atmakaraka tells me this child's soul is seeking wisdom, ethics, guidance, meaning, teaching, and moral understanding. But Jupiter is in the 7th house, the house of others. So Raj's wisdom does not develop only in isolation. It develops through people, partnership, contrast, disagreement, collaboration, and public interaction. He may become the advisor, the mediator, the teacher, the counselor, the negotiator, the one who helps others understand life, the one who explains what is fair, the one who asks, but what is the right thing to do? And because Jupiter is in Aries, there is a directness to this wisdom. He may not like vague moral talk. He may want action. He may say, if this is right, then do it. This can make him a principled leader, but he must learn patience. Otherwise, he may become impatient with people who do not understand quickly. This is where coaching matters. You do not suppress Jupiter in Aries, you refine it. You teach the child that wisdom without patience becomes judgment, and courage without listening becomes conflict. Now Saturn is Amatyakaraka in Aries in the 7th house. Amatyakaraka shows career direction, skill expression, and the kind of work the person is meant to develop. Saturn as Amatyakaraka means Raj's career intelligence is not casual. It is serious, structured, disciplined, responsible, system-oriented, and long-term. But Saturn is also in Aries, and Aries wants action, speed, leadership, and initiative. So this child carries an inner contradiction. One part wants to act fast, another part must learn discipline. One part wants to lead, another part must learn patience. One part wants results now, another part must build slowly. This can become frustration if not guided properly. But when matured, it can create a powerful professional profile, someone who can lead under pressure, advise responsibly, Structure partnerships, handle clients, manage contracts, negotiate, build systems, and take responsibility in public-facing work. Because Saturn is in the 7th house, career will likely involve people. Not just back office work. People, clients, agreements, consultation, public dealing, legal or advisory work, business partnerships, institutional relationships, coaching, counseling, design consulting, strategy, management, law, policy, psychology, or serious client-facing expertise. This is why the subject must not be pushed into a career only because it is safe. Saturn already gives seriousness. What he needs is meaningful responsibility. Now look at Rahu and Cancer in the 10th house. This is public ambition through emotional intelligence. The 10th house is career, status, visibility, authority, public life, recognition, and work. Cancer is emotion, care, family, nourishment, psychology, home, mother, belonging, and public feeling. Rahu amplifies. So Raj may have an unusual public path. He may be drawn toward work that influences people emotionally, media, psychology, education, food, wellness, family systems, community work, emotional branding, child development, public communication, or social impact. He may understand what people feel before they say it. He may sense public mood. He may know what will attract attention emotionally. This can be powerful in media, branding, counseling, psychology, education, content creation, public leadership, hospitality, wellness, and social platforms. But Rahu in the 10th must be handled carefully. It can create hunger for recognition. It can create career restlessness. It can create comparison. It can make the child feel, I must become something visible. So the guidance must be clear. Visibility is not the goal. Impact is the goal. Recognition is not the destination. Contribution is the destination. Now, Ketu is in Capricorn in the 4th house. This is a quieter but very important placement. The 4th house is emotional foundation, home, comfort, mother, inner peace, early education, and private life. Capricorn is structure, discipline, duty, responsibility, pressure, and systems. Ketu brings detachment. So emotionally, Raj may be deeper than he appears. He may not always show what he feels. He may need a calm home, structure, privacy, and emotional safety. He may carry a silent seriousness. He may mature early. He may appear composed outside, while internally processing pressure. This is why parents must not assume that a quiet child is an emotionally settled child. Sometimes the quiet child is carrying the heaviest inner world. For Raj, home must not become a place of emotional pressure. Home must become a place of restoration. Because the public and relational parts of his chart are already active. He is already processing people, expectations, responses, and hidden emotional data. He needs a private space where he can breathe. Now let us bring this together. What are Raj's dominant intelligence types? First, investigative transformational intelligence. He is wired to go beneath the surface. Psychology, research, mystery, healing, crisis, hidden systems, and symbolic interpretation can attract him deeply. Second, linguistic philosophical intelligence. He can think, speak, write, compare, teach, debate, and build meaning through language. Mercury in Gemini in the 9th is a major gift. Third, interpersonal intelligence. Libra rising with Jupiter and Saturn in the 7th makes him people-aware, relationship-aware, and capable of advisory or client-facing work. Fourth, existential intelligence. Jupiter as Atmakaraka, the 8th house depth, and the 9th house Mercury create a child who asks big questions about life, truth, fairness, suffering, meaning, and purpose. Fifth, visual aesthetic intelligence. Taurus, Venus, Moon, and Libra give strong taste, beauty, rhythm, design sense, emotional atmosphere, and refined sensory judgment. Sixth, logical applied intelligence. Mars, Saturn, and Ketu create problem-solving ability, but this logic must be connected to real-world depth, diagnosis, structure, or mystery. This is why this system of intelligence mapping is superior and direct, because it does not ask, is the child good or bad at studies? That is too shallow. It asks, what type of intelligence is actually running? It does not ask, can this child follow the crowd? It asks, where does this child's mind naturally become alive? It does not reduce the child to marks, grades, comparison, or school labels. It reads the diagnostic engine: planet, sign house, karaka, conjunction, placement, pattern. This is how you know whether a child is built for engineering, law, psychology, design, research, media, healing, business, teaching, strategy, or something hybrid. And in Raj's case, the strongest suitable fields are very clear: psychology, counseling, human behavior, law and mediation, communication and publishing, research and investigation, brand psychology, design with emotional depth, UX research, media and storytelling, philosophy, behavioral science, forensic psychology, emotional branding, education, child development, wellness, healing arts. This child may also do well in technology if it is human-centered, like UX design, AI ethics, behavioral analytics, digital psychology, product research, or systems that study how people think and behave. But I would be careful about pushing him into a dry technical field only because it sounds safe. Safety without connection becomes boredom. Prestige without meaning becomes resistance. Structure without depth becomes emotional shutdown. Raj needs a path where his intelligence can investigate, communicate, relate, and transform. Now, if you're a parent listening to this, ask yourself honestly, are you trying to fit your child into a pre-made career box, or are you trying to discover the real intelligence pattern already alive inside them? Because a child like Raj may not always look straightforward. He may be deep. He may be sensitive. He may ask too many questions. He may be drawn to mysteries. He may notice things adults are trying to hide. He may be creative, but not casual. He may be social, but also private. He may want recognition, but also fear emotional exposure. He may be intelligent, but not in the school's favorite format. And this is exactly why many gifted children are misunderstood. Not because they lack intelligence, but because nobody decoded the type of intelligence. When you understand the planetary placement as the diagnostic engine, you stop forcing. You start guiding. You stop comparing. You start positioning. You stop asking, why is my child not like others? You begin asking, what is my child designed to become? That one question can change a life. Because the right intelligence map does not only tell you what your child can study, it tells you what your child can enjoy. It tells you where they may feel useful. It tells you what kind of world they want to connect with. It tells you what kind of problems they are naturally built to solve. For Raj, joy will come from depth, meaning, beauty, people, and transformation. He will feel most alive when he can understand something hidden and explain it beautifully. He will feel connected to the world when he can help people see themselves more clearly. He will feel powerful when he can bring structure to emotional complexity. He will feel fulfilled when his work has both intelligence and impact. And that is the real purpose of intelligence mapping. Not to label a child, but to liberate them from the wrong label. Not to predict a fixed future, but to reveal the correct direction. Not to make parents anxious, but to give them precision. Because once you know the intelligence type, education becomes easier, career planning becomes sharper, parenting becomes more compassionate, and the child stops feeling wrong for being different. So if you are a parent of a Gen Alpha child, a teenager, or a young adult, do not wait until confusion becomes crisis. Do not wait until the child chooses a field only because everyone else chose it. Do not wait until marks decide identity. Your child deserves a deeper reading, a direct reading, a reading that sees intelligence through the actual planetary engine of the chart. If you want to know what intelligence type is active in your child, what subjects they may enjoy, what career fields may fit, where they may struggle, and how to guide them without forcing them, then get in touch with me for a deep intelligence map reading, one that works for your child, not against them. Because the right map does not push the child harder, it points the child better. And once the direction is right, effort finally starts producing joy.